by MorphoTrust or IDEMIA, which is a company that sells its facial recognition technology to governments and law enforcement. So watch this and tell me if it's clear from the commercial whether you can or can't opt out. Now I'm going to go through a couple of other fun examples of face recognition technology. This is a face recognition tool by Microsoft that can supposedly recognize emotion, can perceive varieties of emotion. This is different from facial recognition in that it's not matching one image to another. It's using an algorithm to tell someone the perceived emotional state of an individual in a photo. And one of my favorite things about this example is that it very specifically says it is important to note that facial expressions alone do not represent the internal states of people. Now, I picked this image from a protest in Portland of a protester, because it's the kind of image that you might see in RoboCop to determine that someone is a threat. On the right-hand side, you'll see an example list of emotions. And the emotion that is highest according to the confidence level of the tool is anger. And that may or may not be correct, but it's just an interesting example of Microsoft's tool. Now, I'm going to pick on Microsoft a little bit more because their tool is one that's publicly available. Here is a facial recognition tool that Microsoft lets you drop two images into, and it will tell you its confidence level whether or not they are the same image. And that's often how facial recognition tools work. They don't give you exact matches. They give you, let's say, 10 images or 100 images, and each of those has a confidence level that the system believes it is or is not accurate. So here I'm submitting two new images to this system, one of John Lewis and one of Elijah Cummings. This was a mistake that was made recently by a senator when John Lewis passed away. Now, the confidence level that these are not the same people, 19%. It's not sure. Let's try another example. This is a photo of Eminem on the left, and on the right, a photo of David Foster Wallace. The system is only 10% sure that these are not the same person. Interesting, right? But this is just a quick demo of this tool and the kind of the direction that a lot of these tools can be used to go beyond face recognition itself. And I just want to reiterate that the title here, just because you can build facial recognition tools for less than $100 doesn't mean you should. In this, the New York Times recorded video from 3 cameras and matched those videos to people that they knew worked in the area so that they could track whether or not people were in the area. And it worked. They spent less than $100 doing it. All they needed was access to the cameras. So one of the things that I'd like you to take away from this talk is that building facial recognition tools isn't that hard at this point. What's hard and what's worth doing is building tools that hack these systems or that fight back against them. Building software and creating solutions that give people more privacy, not less, is what EFF is interested in, and hopefully what you're interested in as well. Here's some fun examples if you're not an experienced coder that you might find interesting. This is from Adversarial Fashion. It's a Fourth Amendment ALPR blocking hoodie that the goal of is to fill the automated license plate reader database with gibberish and confuse tools by the police, and also, of course, raise awareness of automated license plate readers. Here's another example of a face mask that says, "Do not consent. I do not consent to the search." Now, I'm going to quickly go through the Who Has Your Face website so you can get a sense of what we did to make it so that you can see who has your face in a government database. If you go to the website, you'll see a quick take the quiz button. It essentially is a 5-step quiz you can use to learn which US government agencies may have access to your photo for facial recognition purposes. And there's also a longer resources page that describes in detail the photo sharing that we've discovered. So I'm just going to show you through the site what happens when you move forward. It asks you whether you have a driver's license or a state photo ID, where you live, and whether you live in a city of more than 100,000 people. I'm choosing California, and yes, because that's true. I do have a passport or US visa. I have signed up for TSA PreCheck. I have not ever applied for a US government job that required a photo, but I clicked yes there just because it'll give you some more information. And then at the end, you'll get a page like this that tells you whether your DMV shares the data with other departments and whether other departments, because you have a passport or a visa, also have access to your image for facial recognition. So what's next? How do we stop these privacy invasions? Well, we've actually been pretty successful at banning facial recognition in cities around the country. 10 US cities have voted to ban it. That includes Boston and San Francisco. But we need to ban it federally, because as long as there are loopholes where individual agencies or departments across the country can submit photos, there will be privacy invasions using facial recognition. So right now you can go to act.eff.org to tell your senator to vote yes and co-sponsor the Facial Recognition and Biometric Technology Moratorium Act of 2020. We're closer than ever to banning this tool, and I think we can do it. Hopefully you'll be able to help. So please go to act.eff.org, and please also continue thinking of other ways to make good technology and cool technology that protects privacy rather than invading it.
Welcome back. This is Who Has Your Face, the fight against U.S. government agencies' use of facial recognition. And we welcome Dr. Matthew Gariglia and Jason Kelly. Thank you so much for being here with us. So we have some questions that have come in the Matrix chat, and if you have them and would like to hear them answered, please drop them in the live stream Q&A. So a question from the audience. In China, there are already established systems to recognize faces that have masks on. Is there a push here for that now due to COVID and protests?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely there is. I mean, I think already